Alrighty, welcome back to the eighth one. And this time we're going to look at two moments in American public life that couldn't seem more different. We've got Martin Luther King Jr.'s 1963 Birmingham campaign and today's gun-toting political ads. One used images of brutality to awaken conscience, and the other used the spectacle of violence to assert dominance. Both show how visual rhetoric, the power of what we see, shapes who we believe we are as a nation. But let's start in Birmingham, 1963. Davy Johnson calls King's campaign an image event, not just a protest, but a deliberate performance meant to make racial injustice visible. King's challenge wasn't only to end segregation, it was to make white moderates see what they preferred to ignore. In his letter from Birmingham jail, he wrote that injustice had to be brought into the light of human conscience in the air of national opinion. So when King led marches that he knew would be met with violence, he was staging a visual argument, a moral drama meant for the camera. The images that followed, black children blasted by fire hoses, young men attacked by police dogs, and women standing with their Sunday dresses soaked through, became some of the most searing in American history. As Johnson writes, those photos pierced the conscience of the nation. They forced a choice: which side do you want, the side of justice or the side of brutality? In a world obsessed with its Cold War image of American civility, those photos turned the mirror back on the United States itself. They made the contradiction visible, a nation claiming freedom abroad while unleashing dogs and hoses on its own citizens at home. King's mastery was in using nonviolence to reveal violence. The protesters' vulnerability became their strength. Their pain became public proof. Their bodies, disciplined, calm, unarmed, were rhetorical tools that exposed the state's moral corruption. This was visual persuasion at its most ethical, an appeal to empathy, to conscience, and to shared humanity. But if we fast forward to today, and the role of violence in political imagery has changed. If King's goal was to make brutality shameful, today's politics often makes brutality spectacular. So in this 2020 article, they describe a wave of political ads where candidates, usually white men, proudly display firearms. They call this phenomenon the white masculine spectacle. You've seen them, politicians shooting targets, blowing up legislation, even interviewing their daughter's boyfriend while holding a shotgun. It's absurd, yeah, but it's also calculated. The authors argue these ads are not just about supporting the Second Amendment, they're performances of identity, reclaiming a sense of lost dominance under the guise of freedom and authenticity. These images, they say, act as kind of inferential racism, a coded performance where whiteness doesn't need to name itself. It's just assumed. The gun becomes a symbol of control, of entitlement, of who gets to be powerful in public space. And unlike King's image, which sought to expose violence, these ads celebrate it. They turn weapons into props of masculinity. And Neville Shepard and Kelly point out how these ads often use phallic imagery, guns as extensions of manhood, fired not for defense but for display. A candidate whips it out, literally and symbolically, to prove toughness, to restore a sense of order that's supposed to be threatened by feminism, diversity, or social change. It's spectacle as politics where intimidation becomes authenticity. So, what happened between King's Image event and today's gun spectacle? Well, in Birmingham, the sight of black bodies under assault made many Americans confront the horror of their complacency. The image of demanded reflection. Today, the image demands reaction, clicks, shares, outrage, applause. Johnson's image event worked because it invited collective conscience. It made people see others suffering. Neville Shepard and Kelly gun ads work because they gave channel grievance. They make audiences feel endangered, then give them a symbol of power to hold on to. King's imagery used vulnerability as persuasion, where modern gun ads use aggression as performance. One sought moral clarity, and the other thrives on chaos. And yet, both rely on the same principle: visibility. Both understand that in America, seeing is believing. The difference is what they make visible. King's campaign made visible a hidden violence. The brutality under the myth of civility. Gun ads make visible a fantasy. the myth of endangered white masculinity fighting to reclaim control. So here's the tension we're left with. In a world saturated with images, how do we tell the difference between exposure and exploitation, between an image that liberates and one that dominates? Well, King's photos work because they transformed violence into moral witness, a call to collective responsibility. Today's political spectacle transforms violence into branding, which is, a call to tribal allegiance. Spectacle has shifted from seeing injustice to performing power, and that's what makes our moments so dangerous. When every act of domination can be reframed as authenticity and every symbol of control is wrapped in patriotism, conscience no longer stands a chance. So, what do we do with this? Maybe it starts with remembering that images are not neutral, they're arguments, they're moral invitations, or even moral evasions. King used the camera to awaken empathy. Many of today's politicians use it to stoke fear, and yet both reveal something essential. America still defines itself through how it looks at violence, who suffers from it, who controls it, and who gets to tell the story. Ready? It's the podcast.